This episode of the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Mucinex. Mucinex for when your lungs feel like they've been inhabited by an alien. Hi there. My name is Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker, Residential Sales Manager at ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 204. And I have a cough drop in my mouth. I have my bottle of water, and I still have a head cold. But hope you guys are doing a lot better than I am. I hope you guys had a good Christmas and a good New Year's. And I had both. So, last week, had to do that whole AI-generated podcast. Cannot say that I loved it, but needed to get something out, and I think that worked out pretty well. You're going to be seeing more stuff like that later on in the year. I'm going to start folding in some of the techniques I played with there into this video, but till then, and I have the time to learn that, we're just going to deal with regular real estate, Ray. So this is the beginning of 2025. We have a new year going on. Conveniently enough, our numbers ended on January 1st, and so the numbers I got are actually recorded yesterday at the top of the year, which is we're pretty good baseline. Usually it's like the second or the third, or when I run them on the Wednesdays, and you can sit there and see the, not the perfect, pure, pristine starting numbers like we got this time around. Did see some really interesting things real quick, but I don't want to get into the numbers just yet. I do want to discuss two things that are happening in Phoenix, and one, we just had a bunch of houses come off the market because of cancellations and expirations. We're going to see that on the numbers, and that's the normal seasonality that we got. Our current numbers are being buoyed right now by the luxury market, the millionaires and the billionaires who are not being impacted because of market rates or everything. So we're almost dealing, when you look at Maricopa County as a whole, as a global area, you might remember I was talking like the 480s last week with the numbers when we were calculating out commissions. The numbers for Maricopa proper and Phoenix area proper is more like about the 427s. And this goes a really big gamut from, very large McMansion kind of stuff all the way down to a 400 square foot condo we just listed this week for $125. Right? All goes into the hopper. All gets played in the same mix. But, looking at, this is where we're starting at, and our closings last year for 2024, nationally was as low as they've been since 2000. And I keep saying 2009, and I quoted 2009 in the episode last week, but it's actually 1995 for volumes of houses being exchanged. We are that slow, the slowest we've been all century, and since 1995, which is, 30 years now? 29 years? So we're, I almost, call this it. We're at another bottom. And the reason why I'm calling it a bottom is just because everybody else out there is really thinking that we're going to see a new tick off in 2025. As the numbers get adjusted from 2024, they just popped up, said that the August employment numbers that they released in October were wrong and more people were unemployed. Funny how that always happens. And that they're trying to correct that. And, it's in the interest of the new administration to try to get a solid set of where we are when we start. So if they have growth from here on out, when the new administration comes in on the 20th, that'll be adequately reflected, right? Or at least they'll have an argument for it to be adequately reflected, whether or not the press does that or not. But, big things that are impacting us right now is cost of living and, the interest rates. If we get some semblance of spending under control, you will see the interest rates starting to come down. All right. A lot of people think that's going to happen. So a really good argument over the weekend about simply saying the administration needs to return to what their budget was in 2019. That's the last year before COVID. It had the chart showing how much money we spent since COVID kicked off, how much COVID spending happened in 2020, how much spending happened ever since then because of the outgoing administration. And if we could just return back to that number, we'd be in a much better place. We'll see if they go that route. Other thing that came up, and this is a specific Phoenix thing, is the Phoenix Association of Realtors had an option for non-realtors to access the MLS called MLS Choice. Sounds like an HMO, doesn't it? Anyways, MLS Choice allowed people to have access to the MLS without being a realtor and paying realtor dues of like $500. Hey, Omar, did you pay your realtor dues?
Yes.
How much was it?
It was $590.
All right, $590. Hey. Oh, by the way, everybody say hi to Omar. He's on the other side of the wall. So $590 or $250. Problem is, you're not paying to be a realtor, which means you can't use a little R on all your marketing. You can't go around saying, well, actually, I'm held to a higher standard because I'm held to realtor standards or anything like that. And they optioned it out there. And then just this last month, they released to say, hey, you could have your entire brokerage go over to MLS Select. We don't care. We'll still give you full access. Well, they got basically called under the carpet by National and said, you can't do that. That's not how the system works. If you're going to have access to the MLS and these services, you have to be a realtor. And Phoenix changed that. Quit offering MLS Choice to people. And PAR basically came back and told them to pound sand. So about a week ago now, it's like last Thursday, last Friday, they pop up and NAR comes down on PAR, NAR and PAR. National comes down on Phoenix and says, we're pulling your charter. You guys are no longer going to be realtors, right? Because you're not listening to what we have to say. And that's where we've been at, all right? Strangely enough, dues come up on December 31st. Actually January 1st, you have to pay at the beginning of each year, and they give it to like the 15th of January before they start levying late fees on you. And then on the 29th, if you have not paid your dues plus your late fee, then they're going to turn around and, kick you out of NAR. So, which means technically, by their rules, your broker then has to sever your license with that brokerage. So, me and the broker, we're talking about whether or not we want to go this route. I got a lot of questions. I've always said that the two main things that being a realtor had for you was access to the MLS and access to those really cool docs that we used. Purchase contract, the ones that I show you and then we go over and we do classes on. Those are all copyright Arizona Association of Realtors, which is another line. I'm not kidding. This is the closest thing to medieval guild that you'll ever see in the 21st century is the National Association of Realtors, all right? Or the mob, because we're always kicking upstairs. So whether or not PAR stays on the course and says, we're going to continue this, and if you get rid of us, well, we'll just call ourselves the Phoenix Association of Sales Agents, or Phoenix Association of Real Estate Agents, or whatever fancy name they come up with, but you can operate in. And then the next question is, if they go that route, do we see a split in the MLSs? There are brokerages out there that are big enough, they don't need the MLS anymore. So is NAR coming down on PAR and threatening to kick them out going to hasten the eventual fall of NAR? And Phoenix is just leading the way. And the problem with being the bleeding edge of anything is that it tends to be your blood. Are they going to be able to crush the rebellion and reestablish their control over the industry? Stay tuned, because that's going to be the big story of 2025, I think. So, and speaking of other stories and stuff like that, let's look at where we're at going into this new year, all right? So our numbers will look like this. Like this. Man, I'm not liking this software upgrade. I'm not even sure if this is going to record. All right, so on January 1st, 2025, our numbers were active 19,440, which is down 846 from the previous week. Our new listings were 941, up 48. Contracts were 1,180, down 88. Closings were 1,208 for the last week of December. Coming soon to an MLS near you is 409 new listings. Our supply is at 85.4, which is quite the drop from what we saw. We were in the 86 last week. Demand also went down because of the holiday to 76.6, but it actually moved our comfort report number up to 89.6. Now, I also have here a little note right here that says there were 1,447 canceled and expired. That's the reason why you see that huge drop in actives. All right. Now, I don't track canceled and expired, so I can't tell you how much of a delta there was from last week to the previous week. But I think that pretty much answers that. This is people who decided we're not selling the house. We gave them until the end of the year. It didn't happen. We're going to rent it out. So keep an eye on the rental spaces. Now, other things that we got going on right here is we can't trust this chart because everything's impacted from the holidays, right? So we will need to see what happened next time around to see what the changes on that are. What else do I have to talk about? That's pretty much it. I'm going to husband my voice, hopefully get this recording out. I hope you guys have a really great weekend. Watch your children, pets around water. Do not drive into anything flooded. All right, work your circles as always. Call your mother because she loves you. And I'll see you guys next week.